12 interesting facts about Ikea. One of the most well-known home companies in the world is Ikea. You could even be one of the millions of people who visit their huge shops every year. Many people don't know some of the coolest and most interesting things about Ikea, even though it's famous all over the world. If you want to learn more about this well-known name, read these interesting facts. 1. Ikea began in 1943 in Sweden. Similar to many big and successful businesses, Ikea started out small before it became famous all over the world. Starting out in 1943 as a mail-order company based on a farm in Småland, a rural part of Sweden. Customers used to get their things in the mail back in the day. The pricing of Ikea was said to be by far the lowest in the land. Ikea wanted to make other people's lives better by offering reasonably priced, high-quality goods. 2. Ikea's founder was a teenager. Ingvar Kamprad, when 17 years old, started Ikea after receiving some cash from his father for good grades. His first company was selling pencils, wallets, and other commonplace items. After 5 years, he expanded his business to include furniture and created the well-known Ikea brand. Being frugal, Ingvar Kamprad aimed to provide his clients with excellent value for their money. He was able to lower costs and create the brand that so many people like about Ikea by reducing overheads to a minimum. 3. It was Ikea that made flat-pack furniture famous. In other parts of the world, flat-pack furniture was already popular by the 1950s. But a man called Gillis Lundgren made it even more famous. This is what Gillis Lundgren did when he worked at Ikea. He took the legs off of a table that wouldn't fit in his car. These were the first pieces of Ikea's flat-pack furniture that we know today. Many of the problems that came with mail orders were fixed by flat-pack furniture, like broken items and high shipping costs. Now, customers could get their things in great shape, and Ikea could keep their prices low. 4. In 1958, the first Ikea store opened. The first Ikea store opened in Sweden 15 years after Ingvar Kamprad started sending things by mail. It was in Älmhult, which is where Ingvar Kamprad was born. Later, the Ikea Museum moved into this town. It is there that people can learn about the history and story of Ikea. The fact that Ikea now has hundreds of shops around the world shows how much the company has grown since then. 5. Ikea's founder's hometown inspired the company's name. There's an interesting story behind the name of this well-known brand that many people may not know. Ikea comes from 3 places: the name of the company's founder, Ingvar Kamprad, the name of the family farm, Älmhult, and the name of the nearby parish, Agunnaryd. Ikea is the name of the company composed of these 4 letters. The name of his business was chosen by Ingvar Kamprad from the start. Customers have known they were shopping at Ikea since the beginning of mail sales. 6. The first Ikea catalog came out in 1950. Looked through an Ikea catalog and ever thought about how it all began? The famous Ikea catalog was made before the first Ikea shop opened. Customers could look through the things to get ideas and motivation, and later it was made available online. Until 2020, the Ikea catalog came out once a year. The catalog stopped coming out after 70 years, but buyers can still look through a variety of brochures on the Ikea website. 7. The Ikea restaurant adventure began with coffee and biscuits. The Ikea restaurant is a great place to grab a snack if you've ever been to an Ikea store. That first time Ikea offered food was in 1953, when Ingvar Kamprad chose to give his customers coffee and cookies for a day. A little over 1,000 biscuits were eaten. It occurred to Ingvar Kamprad that people would stay longer if they could get something to eat and drink. 8. The Ikea bar has been serving hot meals since 1960. In 1960, the first Ikea Baron, or Ikea bar, debuted, expanding on the small coffee shop that had launched in 1958. Along with coffee and cold meals, the restaurant started to provide hot dishes like chicken. Hot meals were prepared using a radar oven brought from America, allowing Ikea to offer a broader selection of cuisines. The introduction of this modern microwave oven reflects Ingvar Kamprad's ongoing interest in new technology. 9. Ikea's founder lived to 91. Ingvar Kamprad, the founder of Ikea, died in his home country of Småland. This is where his famous story started. Ingvar Kamprad gave some of his money to his boys Peter, Jonas, and Matthias, as well as to Annika, the daughter he adopted. He left half of his farm to help Norrland, the northern part of Sweden, grow. Ingvar Kamprad was very interested in this area and came here a lot. He wanted young people to be able to live here and do well without having to leave to find work elsewhere. 10. Furniture store Ikea is one of the most successful worldwide. Ikea has had a lot of success over the years, both in terms of making money and getting known. In both the US and the UK, it is one of the most famous furniture shops. A lot of people go to a lot of shops every year all over the world. People think that one of the main reasons Ikea is so successful is that its goods are so cheap. Ikea has been able to keep prices low and get more customers for decades by coming up with new materials, ways to pack them, and ways to move them. 11. First US state to welcome Ikea was Pennsylvania. In 1985, the United States' first Ikea store opened. With its location in Plymouth Meeting, the new shop got 150,000 customers every week. The New York Times said that $2 million had been paid to promote the store a year after it opened. Ikea first opened in Pennsylvania, and in 1986, it opened a second store in Woodbridge, Virginia. Since then, dozens more Ikea shops have opened. 12. Ikea furniture is named after actual places, names, and Swedish words. If you've ever shopped at Ikea, you've probably noticed that each item has a different name. This is part of Ikea's intriguing marketing technique, but there is also a significant reason for it. Ingvar Kamprad was dyslexic and struggled to memorize numbers. Instead, he utilized distinctive phrases like Swedish islands, Norwegian locations, animals, and even Scandinavian male names. This simplified the system while generating a model that could be scaled up as needed. Who would have guessed that one of the world's largest retailers has such an intriguing story? Whether you've spent hours at Ikea stores or are planning a first-time visit, you now have a better understanding of this incredible company.